So with my mother-in-law living with me, it hasn't been like the best of experiences. So the dream, I think, was pertaining more so to her, and I thought it was just me. You know, she lives there because she gives her money away to random people that are locked up in Venezuelan prison and for gold bars and some more nonsense. Like, it's just, and no matter how much you tell her, no, don't do that, she's gonna continue because she's doing it right now. I mean, I've covered up overdrafts and bought new batteries and stuff just for her to continue to do the same thing, and it's very frustrating. So my dream was she does do her laundry outside of the house. So with her laundry, she goes and takes it, or usually she has one of my kids or something like that take it to the car, and then she goes to the laundromat or whatever. So in this dream, there was a bunch of her stuff in my kitchen. So I kind of like touched it and was like, why is it in here? Because you usually just got to go from her room to her car. And so I was like, what is this stuff doing in here? And when I touched it, immediately like 50 rats just kind of dispersed through my entire kitchen, all ran through my house, like huge rats. I was like, that's gross. And they were just there. I was like, okay, so I was like disgusted. And so she didn't say, I never saw her again during that period. So I went to my room, and it was, I went to my room, and they were in there too, like all over my bed, all over my sheets and stuff like that. And somehow I was going to take a shower, so I had gotten naked, but then I seen them and I got disgusted, and then my phone rang. So I answered the phone, and somehow I went outside. So when I went outside, I was still naked. I never put any clothes on. And so I'm sitting on the end of my driveway, and I was just naked, and there was nobody around. And so, but I started to hear like a little motorized scooter or something coming, and it was these little boys. I mean, they were like 11, 12, like my son's age. And I was like, I'm naked, I have to go back inside. But of course it was like in slow motion. So I'm like trying to get back inside, barely moving. So I'm kind of like covering my boobs, just trying to look at my butt. I mean, if you're going to have to look at something, just look at my butt. You know, these little boys, like, oh my God. And so, I remember I finally got inside, but and I turned around, and they were definitely staring at me, trying to go into their house. So I know they went and they told my mom, and I was like, ugh, that's going to be an indecent exposure charge. And sure enough, I remember I went back to my room after that, and I was still so disgusted. I did put some clothes on. Excuse me. I put some clothes on, but I still didn't take a shower. So I put the clothes on, and then I heard my husband talking to the police. And he was like, oh, no, she would have told me if that was the case. And I don't think she did that. She wouldn't do that, you know. And we have kids. I'm not into the whole child stuff at all, you know, like that does nothing. Like, that is so disgusting and so wicked. So I was like, but I came out, and I was like, yeah, I did it, and I'm sorry, it was an accident. I forgot I didn't have any clothes on, and I was just chilling at the end of my driveway, and then I realized, I'm kind of naked. And so I was like, it will never happen again. I'm not drunk, I'm not a perv. Like, I'm truly very sorry. And so the police were like, okay, that's acceptable, you know, and then they just kind of went on about their business. And then I showed my husband, I was like, look, there is all these rats in here, and it came from your mother's stuff. And so I remember from there, she picks up her stuff, and she was like, well, how long am I supposed to stay gone for? And we had been talking, like, I don't know, I mean, maybe if we give her a time limit, a time frame or something to where she can leave, then that might help us and help her, you know, because she was just taking advantage of us at this point in time. And he was like, yeah, we can do that. So, but I didn't discuss us actually doing it. So I was like kind of perturbed when he did it. I'm like, that's your mother. You know, you kicked her out and you didn't even tell me. Like, he threw her out of the house and was like, I'll let you know how long I need. But if you're already going to leave the house, you shouldn't need a time frame on when you can come back, because then she's not working towards staying on her own. She's working towards when she could come back. And she knows she can always call, especially him, and be like, hey, I need some money. I didn't eat today. I need this. And he's going to deliver. So, I mean, I don't think there's any way of really getting around it. But I had planned for her being with us for life. But even still. So he had done that. And then I was like, okay, well, I need to go to my room. And there's a bunch of rats in there too, to go get my work scrubs. And he was like, okay, let's go. Somehow there was some man standing outside the door of my bedroom, and he was like, what do you need with this room? And I was like, I need my work clothes. And so he was like, okay, let me call to make sure that you're allowed to have access. And I was like, who are we calling? I mean, this is my house. And so he was like, I don't know, I have to call somebody. I don't remember who he said he was calling. And so he called them, and they said, yeah, she was allowed. No, she was allowed, that we were allowed to enter. So I go in there, I get my work scrubs. My husband lays on the bed, and I'm like, get off the bed. You don't see all the rats around you? And he was like, yeah, but he was still trying to catch him. He was trying to catch him in the kitchen, trying to catch him in the bedroom. I don't really know. He didn't catch a single one. And so all of a sudden, he laid there was like this big old golden grasshopper or praying mantis or something that landed on like my entertainment center in my room. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to finally take a shower before I put these scrubs on. But he was like, okay, I gotta go drop off the kids, or take Jaden, my son, to basketball practice. And I was like, okay. So he goes to take him to basketball practice. I jump in the shower, and somehow there's these 3 windows in my shower now that are now open, like screen door open. And my mother-in-law comes up to the window, and she was like, I'm going to take the kids to somewhere. I don't remember where she said she was taking them. She said she was taking them somewhere, but she was supposed to have been leaving, but she wasn't leaving. She was going to take the kids somewhere. And that, did I need her to call the police because there was some homeless, injured people at the end of the driveway, and the ambulance just dropped them and left them. I'm like, I'm in the middle of the shower. I will deal with it when I get done. So I get done with my shower, and then I go outside, and sure enough, there was a bunch of one like homeless man laying flat on his belly, like bleeding, in the end of my driveway, and the other homeless chick just sitting there, just strung out or high. And that was that. Then I woke up. I know, y'all. If anybody knows what any of that means. I mean, I understand the rats. The rats, I mean, it's pertaining to my mother-in-law, and she's taking advantage of a situation. And it's been time for me to, have her go somewhere else. We planned for her being with her for the rest of her life, because that's just what she needed, because she's incapable of taking care of herself. But the fact that you're an able-bodied human being and you complain the most about anything and everything when she has very little responsibilities. So I know, and I felt bad, because as a Christian, it wasn't my place to be like, hey, you know what, you got to get out of my house, because I cannot do that to somebody. But at the same time, I shouldn't have to be uncomfortable in my own home. I shouldn't have to be taken advantage of in my own home. Rats also represent the spirit of poverty, and there is no reason to work this hard and to not be able to have enough money to do the things that I need to do. So that in and of itself, I understand. But the rest of that, no clue. No clue. So any help would be greatly appreciated. Love you guys.